Mr. Speaker, I have brought up on many occasions the appalling fiscal mismanagement of this NDP government.
That's wrong.
For example, in 2012-2013, this NDP government increased the budget for childcare and early childhood education by $4.5 million, and then proceeded to claw this budget back by $4.8 million for a net increase of minus $300,000. I asked the Premier, why does he pretend to support families by making promises for childcare and early childhood education in his budgets that he apparently has no intention of following through on and actually even clawing them back further?
The childcare, the early childhood learning story in Manitoba, 12,000 spaces when we came into office in '99, 28,000 spaces now. Mr. Speaker, when the Leader of the Opposition was in government in a single year, cuts to childcare centres, $3.7 million. 3 years later, another $4.3 million cut to childcare centres, Mr. Speaker. Under us, 12 to 28,000. Better wages, the first ever pension plan for childcare workers in Manitoba, and 150 more new daycare centres in the province of Manitoba, a record unequaled by any member on the other side of the House, Mr. Speaker.
20,000 spaces when we really need about 40,000. We've got 10,000 plus on the waiting list. Mr. Speaker, the Premier fails in not allocating enough for childcare and early childhood education in his budgets to address the crisis, and even when he does allocate, he claws it back, sometimes even more than he pretends to put aside. This dual misleading approach is a major reason we have a crisis in access to childcare in Manitoba and a wait list of over 10,000 children. It's a major reason why people like Susan Prentice and many parents are so concerned about what this government is doing. Why does the Premier deliberately underfund early childhood education, with the result that so many families don't have access and many children aren't ready for school?
The member for River Heights was a member of the federal cabinet. They actually reneged on their commitment to bring in universal childcare. And then after he left that federal cabinet, in the last breath of the former Prime Minister Martin, they brought in a universal childcare program. The election occurred. The Conservative government came in. The first thing they did, cancel the universal childcare program all across this country. The money was taken away from families, Mr. Speaker. Childcare spots were defunded. They were not allowed to proceed, Mr. Speaker. He didn't deliver on it when he was a member of the federal cabinet. He voted against every single budget where we expanded childcare in Manitoba. He voted against the budget when we brought in the first pension plan for childcare workers. We've gone from 12 to 28,000 spots. We've increased the number of daycare centres by over 150. And in this budget again, we are expanding daycare and childcare opportunities by over $5 million. The test will be today. Will he vote for that budget? We will see if he votes for childcare in the budget vote today in this legislature,
Mr. Speaker, maintaining the status quo when it so drastically misses the mark on actual need is not something this NDP government should be proud to announce every year. The documents I table show that in the last 7 years, the NDP have made empty promises to increase support and then clawed back a total of $44 million for child care and early childhood education. Contrary to the Premier's misleading claim, I once voted for the budget in 2003, but there's no reason to vote again for a budget which he will never deliver on. With such a careless and chaotic budget, I ask the Premier, why would even he vote for it?
I think it's a major accomplishment to go from 12 to 28,000 childcare spaces in Manitoba, Mr. Speaker. I think 150 new daycares in Manitoba is a major accomplishment, Mr. Speaker. I think, and we have a record investment in building new schools. Every new school built in Manitoba has a daycare as part of that new school, Mr. Speaker. And we're doing this without any federal partner on universal daycare in this country. without one that came forward when he was in cabinet, without one that came forward with the federal government. We are continuing to expand childcare and early childhood learning opportunities in Manitoba, Mr. Speaker. We want families to be able to participate in the economy. They tell us they want good jobs. We're providing good jobs, and in order to do those good jobs, they need good early childhood learning, and we're providing it. I look forward to the member voting for the budget today, Mr. Speaker.